Hello, let's play pips. It's time to place dominoes. We've got 2 by Ian, 1 by Rodolfo today. Let's start with the easy puzzle. Let's start solving here. All right, we need to put a 1. I might have to, by the way, I might have to pause this at some point. I have a call I have to take soon, but we'll see if I can get through the pips before that happens. So we have a 1 that doesn't connect to a 6, which means it's going across this way, which means we now need a 3 that connects to a 6 to make the 12, which we have. So now we need a 6 connected to a greater than 3, which is the 4. A remaining 6 goes in the 6 region, and we finish the equivalence with another 2. And that's that. That's the easy puzzle. Let's move on to medium. Okay, so we have a 4 that could point down. Well, if the 4 points down, we then need a self-contained 4, which we could do with a 4, 0. So how likely do we think this is? If we put that there, we then need a self-contained greater than 7, which would have to be the double 5. We would also need a self-contained 3, which we cannot do. So this runs out of steam. Okay, so that is not how it works. So what that means is the 4 points into the 3 region, which could be with a 3, it could be with a 0, or it could be well, no, it couldn't be this 1, because we would need a 2 to make the 3, and we don't have a 3. So that's interesting. That means this 3 region, no matter what, is made up of 3 and 0, but we don't know in which order. Right. Okay, so we also need a 4 that overlaps into this. Wait. Yeah, we need a 4. We need something from the 4 that overlaps into the 7, which means we have a 4 here pointing into one of the equivalence regions. So we need a 4 that is attached to something that we have 2 of. So 4, 3, we have 2 3s. 4, 0, we've got plenty of 0s. 4, 1, we've got plenty of 1s. Okay. 4, 3, no, it can't be 4, 3, because then we would need another 3, and we wouldn't have a 3 to make the 3, 0 up at top, which is how that works. So it's not that. Sorry, one sec. I do need to pause this for a moment. Okay, I have unpaused. Where was I? I don't remember what I was saying a moment ago. Sorry about that. Okay, well, what about this? We could have the 4 pointing across or pointing up. If it pointed up, we'd need it to double something in the equivalence region, which could be double 0 or double 5. If it's double 5, that would make this greater than 7 a bit trickier to achieve. It would need to be 2 4s in there. Is that possible? It is not. Okay, this is a good place to look. Yeah, because we already have 2 4s spoken for elsewhere. So we would be unable to make the great, if this were double 5, we'd be unable to make the greater than 7. I think that what that tells us is the double 5 needs to be involved in the greater than 7 in some way. And it can't be here, which means it must be here. So that's useful. So now the greater than 7, it needs to be 3 or higher. Let's come back to that. But, right, we could still put the 4 pointing upwards if we doubled the 0 over here. Do we think that's possible? We then need 4 pointing up into something, which could no longer be 0 because we need our 0. We need a remaining 0 for the 3. It could be... Oh, this might not work, actually. No, it could work. We could do 4, 1, 1, 0, or 1, 3. Then the other... So we could do this, and then... Oh, no, that doesn't work. Sorry. It would need to be the... It would need to be the 1, 3. Then we'd have 0, 4 up here. Then we'd put a 3, 4. Yeah, this works. We put a 3, 4 here and a 0 here. Okay, there might have been another way to do that, but that's how I did it. And let's just get on to the hard. So I am actually still waiting on that call. Okay, so... Oh, interesting grid. And we're back to letters. We've got a Y now. So we've got a 5 here, a 6 up here, a 0, more zeros. So we need 3 zeros. Do we have exactly 3 zeros. So all of our zeros are accounted for. If this bottom 0 points down, it would have to connect to a 5 or 6. So if this points down, it would need to be 0, 5. Then we'd need a 6 coming out of here. This doesn't necessarily tell me very much, does it? Okay. Well, Okay. How do I get started with this? This might be a count up situation. I'm not thrilled about having to do that, so maybe I'll wait first. What about this 5? Could it point across? Boy, the problem is we've got all these regions that are 11 and 12 in 3 cells, and that's just not at all difficult to achieve. You know, there are many ways you could achieve those totals. What about this 2? We don't have any zeros left because we've used all those. So the 2 needs to be 2 1s. Okay, we have 3 1s. So that's a bit constrained, but not, unfortunately, completely constrained. We have a 4, a 5, and a 6 up there, plus a 5 and a 6 down there. So that's 2 5s and 2 6s accounted for off the bat. I guess what that means is neither 5 nor 6 can be in an equivalence region because we'd need 2 of them and we don't have 2 left of either of them. Is that useful? If this 5 pointed across, it couldn't be a 6 for that reason. It couldn't be a 0 because we've used all those. It would have to be a 1. If this pointed across, it would have to be a 1. Then we'd need another 1 pointing across, which would have to be this one. That would then be using our, oh no, sorry, it could be a 2. Never mind. Okay, it's not as constraining as I thought it was going to be. This would be difficult to achieve, though, in the 11. We'd need 9 left, which I guess is doable. All right, how do I get started with this thing? How do I get started with this? I don't know. Tough day for me with the old pips. Maybe I should be adding these up. Okay, let's take a stab at this and see how it goes. Oops. So let's see. Okay, we've got 12, 16, 19, 25, 37, 48, 50, 61. So we've got 61 total. Is that correct? Maybe I should do that again to be sure. 22, 24, 29, 33, 45, 51. No, okay, I've done something wrong. One of those 2 times was incorrect. Sorry about this. Okay, 18, 29, 31, 31, 42, 47, 51. Okay, it's 63. So that's what, okay, so I've now reached 63 twice. So that's probably correct. So I must have missed 2 at some point in the first count. And then what about, and that's not including this equivalence region, or obviously the void cells. So what's our total in the pips? We've got 11, 17, 22, 27, 30, 37, 40, 47, 53, 59, 63, 73. Okay, that's interesting. So we only have 10, if those counts are correct, I hope they are. If those counts are correct, we've only got 10, a count of 10 to play with between this double region and our voids. And none of the voids will be zeros because we are using all of our zeros already. So these will all have actual real counts in them. And we know the equivalence regions, or region singular, can be neither 5 nor 6. So could it be 4? That would be 8, and then we'd only have, no, that's not possible. It cannot be 4s, because then we'd have only 2, a count of 2 to fill our void cells. We can only do that if we've got extra zeros, which we don't. Okay, so the equivalence region cannot be 4s. So it's 3s, 2s, or 1s. If it's 3, we've got 4 left to fill in our equivalence regions, which would have to be very small Those would have to be small dominoes, but that is tricky to achieve. But we could do it as far as I know currently. I don't have any reason to believe we couldn't currently do that. There's two, right, there's two ones. Oh, okay, so we only have one 1 left to play with. Does that might actually prevent this from happening. So if the equivalence region were 3s, we'd have 4 left to play with over here. Yeah, and that's still not big enough. So the equivalence region then is 2s or 1s. I hope what I've said is correct. And it's not 1s because we don't have enough 1s. I think that means it has to be 2s. I think it has to be 2s. Boy, I hope I haven't flubbed that. Okay, so it's got to point outward into the 11 region. We only have 2 2s. Okay, that's interesting. So if I'm right, and I might have messed that up, but if I'm right, oh no, we have 3 2s, sorry. That's a shame, okay. This is tough. I'm not sure how to make great progress on this right off the bat. So do we have a 5-2? Can we disprove that? Oh, we don't have a 5-2, that's good. So that means the 5 points up. That means the 4 points down into the 2. I hope it's a 2. We do have a 4-2. So that goes there, I think. Really hope I'm not wrong about that. So we need a 5 that points up. It's not the 5-0, because we need our zeros. So it's 5-6 or 5-1. Those are pretty different. If it were 5-6, does that cause us problems? We then need 6 in a single domino, which could be double 3. So that could work. It could be 5-1. Although does that... Yeah, it's not necessarily a problem yet. Okay, what about if this were 5-1? We then... no, this probably doesn't work. We then need 11 up there, which would have to be 6-5. Does that cause us any issues here? We need a 6 up there. We need a 6 in the 11 region down there. And we'd need one more 5 to make the 11 region work. I mean, that could be it. We could put 5-0 there and a 6 something coming out of it. Maybe that works. How many digits are we, what count are we left with if we do, if we do 2s in the equivalence region? We then need to put 6 in the voids. So what is that, 3 2s? No. No, we need at least some 1s, but we're using our 1s now. Okay, so I think this can't be 5-1. So I think it has to be 5-6. I hope, if I've made a mistake in the count, then this is all useless. This is all completely useless if so. But this would mean we have 6 up at top there, which could be, as I said, the double 3, could be 5-1. 5-1 might cause problems because we need to use our other 1s in this 2 region. And we have 6 left to place down in these. And we don't have 3s to do it with, which means we do need to be using at least 1-1 for that. Okay, so I think that can't be 5-1 up there. So I think, is it 3-3? Do we have other options that make 6? I don't think we do. So I think this has to be that, if everything I've said is correct, and I'm still not 100% certain of that. This is going to be an awful video if my deductions so far have proven to be wrong, because I don't know where I'm going to go after that. Okay. In theory, I think this is right, but I'm not 100% confident at all. 2... We can't waste any more of our 2s because we'll need to use at least one of, well, we'll need to use exactly one of them in the void, and then the other 2 in the 2 region. So what do we do with them? And I don't think we can, so I think what that means is we need a 1, a 2, and a 3 in the void to make 6. Because if we put 2 2s in there, we'd need a third 2, and we don't have a third 2. So I think we need a 1, a 2, and a 3 in the void. It's useful to know. And the 11 at the bottom won't be 5, 6. So we need a 5 or a 6 pointing to a 1, 2, or a 3, which we do have. We could do 5, 1, for instance, or 6, 1. Oh, so I guess we could... So they can't both be pointing out, can they? Because they would need to be made up. The things that they point out with would need to be from the set of 1, 2, and 3. And I don't think we have a 5 and a 6 that can fulfill that next to each other. No, we don't. So that means one of them points up into the 0. So we need a 0 connected to a 5 or 6, which is this. So then we need a 6 connected to a 1, 2, or 3, and it's only this one. God, I hope this is right. I really hope this is right. Then we need a 2 or 3 pointing into something that can connect to a 2, which looks like, well, we need a 1. I mean, a 1 connected to one of these things. So it's this. If everything I've said is right, I'm still not sure it is. Then we need a 1 pointing over to the right in this 11 region. And that would have to be this 5. So now we need to make 6 in here. So we need 2, yeah, that'll be another double 3. So we've got a 2 connecting to a 3 connecting to a 0. Oh, this might work. Please don't fail. We've got a 0 pointing somewhere. Oh no, we've got a 3. We have to put this 3 here because our void is 1, 2, and 3. Now our last 0 points up. This works. Oh, it works. I'm so relieved. Okay. And then we finish our 12 with a third 4, and that's it. Oh, what a relief. Okay. So I'm happy with how I did that, which was basically by, I've done this before, but not often, which is counting up all of the cells in the grid, comparing that to the number counting up the enumerated values in the grid, comparing that to the number of pips available in all of the dominoes, and then figuring out what was left. And the key was by trying the various possibilities for how to make this two-sized equivalence region and thinking, okay, with each of the possible totals it might have, what does that mean for these void cells where we have to park the rest of our dominoes? And as it turned out, the only one that worked was a double 2, which led to 6 being left in the void. And because our 1s were earmarked for this 2 region, or 2 of our 1s were earmarked for it, it meant the only total that could work here was 1, 2, and 3 to add to 6. So I think that was all forced, but it was tricky to get there. But I'm pleased with how the solve turned out. So there we have it. That was those were the pips. Back tomorrow. Bye for now.